Yes. Welcome, everybody. It is Monday. It is Veterans Day. It is Veterans Day. And we are here much fresher than normal. Got my fresh haircut, though it's uncombed now. Freshly trimmed beard. Feeling good. Ready to go this week. Feeling appreciated. Thanked for my service. It's a good day. How's everybody doing? My name is Stuart Davis, a flawed man of God, a humble parishioner, small church outside of Richmond, Virginia. I'm not a pastor, not a biblical scholar, haven't been to seminary, not trying to get you to join my church or donate to any special cause. What I'm here to do is talk about God, talk about Jesus, talk about the Holy Spirit, talk about the Bible, talk about Christianity, talk about a wide variety of different current events, issues, and such, and give you my perspective on them. What did I think is reflective of your average Christian guy? Been a Christian all my life, 41 years, non-denominational Protestant. Don't subscribe to any particular denomination. I'm just in the Word each day, trying to do it better each and every day. Sometimes I'll get it right. Often I'll get it wrong. But no matter what, if you are listening to this stream, if you are viewing here, and you are paying attention to what I have to say, you can count on getting my honest takes on whatever it is that we're discussing. So if you are somebody who is new to Christianity, or you are thinking about entering the faith, if you are somebody who understands that there's something missing in your life, and you believe that it is Jesus, and you want to take that first step, but you're reticent because it's a big deal, putting your faith, putting your trust in something is something that might scare you or give you pause. If you're looking for reassurance, and you've come to the internet of all places, but sometimes we find ourselves here looking for information, looking to find somebody who's kind of where we want to be, or knowledgeable of what we're looking into. And somehow you've come across the stream and you need that push in the right direction. Well, I'll get everything I'm going to say this whole stream, I'll get it all out of the way right now, and I'll just tell you straight up, keep going. If you're honestly, diligently, and obediently pursuing Christ, it is the greatest decision you can make. And that decision that you make could have a ripple effect that ends up changing the lives of people around you. But most importantly, for you, and I believe in you, and the chat believes in you, everybody watching the stream believes in you, and we all want to say, keep going, buddy. Make that leap. Pursue that faith. And spoiler alert, Jesus is the thing that you should have in your life if you feel like something is missing. But you might want to stick around and hang out with us as we have discussions on Christianity. And as we go through the Bible, like our current project is, going through it verse by verse, chapter by chapter, book by book, from Genesis 1 to the end of Revelation. And you can tune in. Maybe you'll like what you find. If you are already a Christian and you just enjoy Christian topics and discussions, welcome as well. You'll find we run this very similar to a Wednesday night study group or a Sunday school. It's all about small group, and we are a small group. So don't feel like you need to be a stranger. We care. And if you've got something to say, we want you to say it. We want you to participate. And having said that, no matter whether you are just somebody curious about Christianity or somebody who is um, more knowledgeable in your faith, more um, educated in the faith, more mature in your faith than me, or if you're somebody in between, get in the chat. Be part of this show. The chat is part of this show. We've got a great group of folks who tune in and night out and give their 2 cents worth. And we'd love to hear from you as well. And it's very simple because we are a small enough group that if you put something in that chat box and send it, I'll read it and respond to it. So what do you agree with or disagree with? Where do you think I'm right? Where do you think I'm wrong? What unique insights, experience, or perspective do you have that perhaps we haven't considered yet? Or maybe you want to add on to what somebody else says. Share your opinion. Ask questions. I might not have the answer. There's a decent likelihood I won't. But we can talk about your question, maybe point you in the right direction. Maybe somebody in the chat will know. And with that said, let's get on with the show. How is everybody doing? What do you want me to show this to everybody? Oh, that is for me? Oh, okay. My son is awesome at origami. It's very impressive. And he makes these parrots, among other things. Makes these parrots. And they actually have little feet that you can you can normally balance them. There we go. Of course I can't. There we go. Which is very cool. So something he's just been good at that that's his party trick, right? I can make you something. I can make you something out of paper. So I'll put that over here for the time being. Nope, it's not going to want to stick there. About right here. There we go. Anyway, how's you folks doing? Thad the man, after the election, for I am already being poured out like a drink offering, and the time for my departure is near. I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. Well, better better that the election went the way opposite of the Chicago Bears this season. Dad, thinking of you, buddy. Thoughts and prayers. Emmanuel, we are so back, guys. Let's go. Yes, we are. Look, celebrating some stuff, and let me pull it up. Right? Try, like you said, politicians not to be trusted. And oftentimes they will let you down. They will let you down more than they will not let you down. But there is something that Trump did this weekend. And I want to share it because I think this is a pretty big thing. Let's see if I can pull it up. Yeah, here it is. All right, let's I don't know if you guys have seen this yet. This is a year old. How is this a year old and I didn't even know it? I just looked at it because somebody sent me the thing over Twitter, and it obviously that doesn't say it doesn't, the video's embedded, so it doesn't have a when it was posted. So now I feel like I'm going to share old news, but we'll go over it a little bit. We'll go over it a little bit. Let's see.
The left-wing gender insanity being pushed on our children is an act of child abuse. Very simple. Here's my plan to stop the chemical, physical, and emotional mutilation of our youth. On day one, I will revoke Joe Biden's cruel policies on so-called gender-affirming care. Ridiculous. A process.
Ridiculous. And it is mutilation. It is definitely mutilation.
That includes giving kids puberty blockers, mutating their physical appearance, and ultimately performing surgery on minor children. Can you believe this? I will sign a new
20 years ago, you wouldn't believe it.
Executive order instructing every federal agency to cease all programs that promote the concept of sex and gender transition at any age. I will then ask Congress to permanently stop federal taxpayer dollars from being used to promote or pay for these procedures and pass a law prohibiting child sexual mutilation in all 50 states. It'll go very quickly. I will declare that any hospital or healthcare provider that participates in the chemical or physical mutilation of minor youth will no longer meet federal health and safety standards for Medicaid and Medicare and will be terminated from the program immediately. Furthermore, I will support the creation of a private right of action for victims to sue doctors who have unforgivably performed these procedures on minor children. The Department of Justice will investigate Big Pharma and the big hospital networks to determine whether they have deliberately covered up horrific long-term side effects of sex transitions in order to get rich at the expense of vulnerable patients, in this case, very vulnerable. We will also investigate whether
there
Big
is
Pharma
no one more vulnerable than than children and the elderly, and it seems that's who's preyed upon the most.
Others have illegally marketed hormones and puberty blockers, which are in no way licensed or approved for this use. My Department of Education will inform states and school districts that if any teacher or school official suggests to a child that they could be trapped in the wrong body, they will be faced with severe consequences, including potential civil rights violations for sex discrimination and the elimination of federal funding. As part of our new credentialing body for teachers, we will promote positive education about the nuclear family, the roles of mothers and fathers, and celebrating rather than erasing the things that make men and women different and unique. I will ask Congress to pass a bill establishing that the only genders recognized by the United States government are male and female, and they are assigned at birth.
2 scoops!
The bill will also make clear that Title IX prohibits men from participating in women's sports, and we will protect the rights of parents from being forced to allow their minor child to assume a gender which is new and an identity without the parents' consent. The identity will not be new, and it will not be without parental consent. No serious country should be telling its children that they were born with the wrong gender, a concept that was never heard of in all of human history. Nobody's ever heard of this, what's happening today. It was all when the radical left invented it just a few years ago. Under my leadership, this madness will end. Thank you very much.
2 scoops, 2 genders, 2 terms. Base. I don't know. Where has that been? That's been on YouTube for a year. That PSA has been out there for a year. I did not see it until recently. How did we miss this? That's so great. I thought, because I didn't see this until after he got elected. I was like, we're back. We're back. And I think it was Samuel saying, let me see if I can pull it up real quick on X. and he's worth a follow. I've been trying to get him on this show. He's a new dad, though. That's always makes it difficult. Here we go. Some Christians say Donald Trump is like King David. But that's an insult to the man the Bible calls a man after God's own heart. Donald Trump isn't like King David. He is more like Silas the Great, an ungodly ruler God used to restrain evil. Now, what I would temper that with is the fact that we don't know that Trump is ungodly. He has made overtures that he has converted some, but some of his policies do run contrary to Christian beliefs and generally accepted Christian doctrine. His lax and somewhat apathetic or more pandering to pro-life advocacy as much because he understands that it is not popular in a very secular society, a society that is obsessed with consequence-free sex and practicing that before marriage. But man, what a W it is to hear about the promotion of the nuclear family, of the positive roles and integral roles of a father and a mother in a child's development and in a child's life, or in the family in general. Family is so important to how we develop. And a child, whether you have a son or a daughter, they need those influences of a father or a father figure or a mother or a mother figure. And that's why being an orphan is so tragic. That is why losing your parent at a young age is tragic, and beyond the fact that you are without a loved one. But what you miss out and why it's so integral for somebody to be there to fill that role. And why we have so many kids who are starved for male role models because fathers in too many cases have abandoned their responsibility, or fathers in too many cases have been pushed out as a result of divorce, or the mother not wanting to be around the father, pushing them and keeping them out of their kids' lives and teaching their kid that their father is scum. Too much of that. That needs to be looked down upon. That needs to be shamed. That needs to be taboo. And all these women say, oh, we're going to punish the men. You feel like you think you got control of us. We're just going to wait until we find somebody who can provide for us and be a good husband. What do you think we've wanted? Those terms are acceptable, as the meme goes. Of course that should be. That should have been what you wanted from the get-go. Is this supposed to be an own? It's not. It's a W. It's a W for traditional families. It's a W for kids, because of kids who are raised, equipped with the people in their lives that God intended to be in with them, and the influence that God intended to have them to have, is a wonderful thing. Because it's true. It's the truth. Because that's, again, you can deny it all you want. You can try to make excuses all you want. etc. And you can say, well, this is good, just as good as X is just as good as Y. It's not. And not all situations are ideal. But if you want the best setup, if you want to set your kids up for success, a stable and loving household with a mother and a father, and hopefully other kids, other brothers and sisters to be around. So let's hope that this goes into effect. These are things that I want. These are things that I want. These are things that I find beautiful. You don't want Waltz as a replacement coach, even though he makes the pick six play. Hold on 1 second. Let me finish reading these chats. Then I'm going to go tuck my son in. And we'll go from there. Hang on 1 second. Trump's new PSAs are so based finally Section 230 and other points. The "you're fired" bit was Keno. This is like the RMS, which became FMS, but worse. What's RMS? What am I missing? Well, I'm going to miss the birth of blood sports, not yet to be. So I have a different perspective on that. I don't like seeing that. Because to me, it's like watching somebody. It's like watching somebody struggle with something, with a character flaw or an addiction or something like that. You see, someone put in the ring, which they agreed to do, put in the ring with somebody so very much overmatched, and it never ends well, and it's not fair. But that's how it's like, man. But the other part of me is, man, if this is what it takes for people to realize how damaging this is and how ridiculous it is, maybe it needs to happen. I don't know. You're good with the doll, but it's hilarious. It's not hilarious. No, Emmanuel, no. Ain't taking care of no single mom. Oh, but humor me here. All right. If you, and I think you've mentioned, did you have a sister or that you have a nephew of something? If that nephew's father passed away, would you make the effort to try to be a father figure in their life? And I think we know the answer to that would be yes. You would step in as well as best you could, if you don't already do so, just as an uncle, to be a stabilizing influence in their life. And that is important, because again, we talk about not all situations are ideal. Sometimes a father is a turd. Sometimes we die. A lot of times we have dangerous jobs. This is Veterans Day, right? If it was Memorial Day, we could talk about all the men who didn't come home to their kids, right? And that leaves a child without a father figure, without their actual father. It's important for that. I used to do this, and I was much younger at the time. It was at the elementary school my mom worked at, and it was just me coming in and spending lunch once a week with a kid. With a kid who had some struggles emotionally and behaviorally in school, which is something I struggled with. And I did this for a few kids. Man, they were always missing their dads, which is weird because I didn't, right? My dad was very much present in my life. But my behavior issues was a lot of that due to my ADHD, as opposed to some of these kids. They were just in a bad situation at home, and they just wanted somebody, some guy to be there for them to kind of be a kid in front of. And you could just see that. And this was me as a 20-something year old, early 20s. And it's good. And Thad bringing it up. I think honestly, it's like Emmanuel's got his shields up, but I think also Emmanuel's also open-minded enough to take a situation at a case-by-case basis. But he's got a standard, right? He wants to stick to it. But like I said, I don't think the men here who listen to this show, who tune in or are part of the chat, I don't think that you guys would shrink from that. If it was a family member who needed you, or a close friend whose kid needed you. Oh, what is false memory syndrome? Well, there's a lot of ways that you can get into that position, right? And a lot of times it is you versus the world. And if you were a single mom who is coming from an abusive situation, you have already kind of been not just you versus the world, but you versus somebody that you are supposed to be trusting, who has isolated you and taken that trust and corrupted it, right? I know women who are who have been single mothers, who have run away from very bad situations. A very good friend of mine married a lady who is also a friend of mine. I went to school with her, and I didn't know I'd lost touch with her since, but that she had, and they are married, wonderful couple. I love them to death. But there's that mindset you get into as a single mom, where you're putting up a lot of shields because you are vulnerable. You are protective of a kid or kids that you should feel very protective of because you love them and cherish them. And you just kind of it puts you in that mindset. So it can be very guarded, and it can be something that's difficult to get past, especially for those of you who might have dated a woman who's a single mother, that there are there are difficulties, there are roadblocks and everything, and it all comes down to is the relationship worth it? Is it the relationship worth you putting the effort into? And is that lady a genuinely good person, good mom, and she's just this is just how she's kind of gone into survival mode? Or is this somebody who is just looking for a punching bag or a meal ticket or whatever, or just looking for attention? Because there's good, like I said, good and bad actors in every scenario. And we have, unfortunately, allowed the reason why we have a lot of these the reason why we have a lot of these situations is because we have allowed or tried to normalize relationships with kids outside of marriage. And so you see a lot of them. But it's like I said, it's a case by case basis. It's a person by person basis. But yeah, you can run into run into some people, some ladies out there where you know, they are, hang on. There's a bad attitude, and they aren't in it for the right reasons. You have to discern. This is your personal discernment. This is navigating life. Trying to do your own version of separating wheat from the chaff. Because it is, when you enter a relationship, it should be with the intention and the goal of looking to see if it's going to be something permanent. And if you find that, you're expected to honor your vows, because they're not just made to your spouse at that time, they're made to God. Emmanuel, happy Veterans Day to me, by the way. Yeah, you're welcome. No, like, I love saying you're welcome. I love making a joke of it because it's hilarious. But seriously, like, I joined out of patriotism. I joined out of love for my fellow man, and I'm not doing that as a brag. This is not a flex. That desire of mine does not exist if there aren't people who I felt were worthy of it. And the more people I run into, just like in this chat, and the more I get into things, into my faith, the more I find that people are more worthy for that sacrifice. Christ did it for all of us sinners. We could be it. It's not too much to ask for us to do it. So you're welcome. But thanks for being somebody that I find worth making the efforts and sacrifices that I did and going through the experiences that I did. So it wasn't without justification. But thank you, Emmanuel. Dad said all the shrinks convincing young women. Tore families apart in the early 2000s. So people began suing shrinks. Bear attacks. What's going on? May had to rush out to check on your wife's mom. Someone tried to break in her house, maybe? Jeez. Hope everything's okay there. Keep us up to date on that. Emmanuel said, I know I'm in the minority here, but it's all varying opinions. If we were in the left, the call for cancellation would be in order, but we are blessed to have good internet friends like everyone here. It's okay. All right, I'm going to get back to this in a second. I'm going to put things on Psalms, and I'm way overdue. Talking my son in now because I get on tangents and I talk. So enjoy. Enjoy this. Are you still on this? Let's get to this. All right. See you guys in 1 second.
My God, why hast thou me forsaken? Why so far art thou from helping me, and from my words that roaring are? All day, my God, to thee I cry, yet am not heard by thee. And in the season of the night, I cannot silently be. But thou art holy, thou that dost inhabit Israel's praise. Our fathers hoped in thee, they hoped, and thou didst them release. When unto thee they sent the cry, to them deliverance came. Because they put their trust in thee, they were not put to shame. But as for me, oh, well, I am, and there's no man and price. But don't you name I am, and by the people despised. This man you trust in God that he will free him by his might. Let him deliver him till he had in him such delight. But thou art he the woe, that didst me safely take. When I was on my mother's breast, thou me till didst me. I was cast upon my care, even from the womb till now. And from my mother's belly, Lord, my God, and God of thou. Be not far off, for grief is near, and none to help is found. Bulls many compass me, strong bulls of passion we surround. They're nothing and wide on me, upon me gate to daylight, to a lion ravening and roaring for its prey. It's my powers as the wax, so melted is my heart. My strength is like a potsherd tribe, my tongue it cleaveth fast. Unto my jaws, into the dust of death thou blow me hence. For dogs have compassed me about, the wicked that did meet. In their assembly me enclose, they pierced my hands and feet. I hold my bones may tell, they do. Upon me look and stare. Upon my vesture lots they cast, and clothes among them share. But be not far, O Lord, my strength. Haste to give help to me. From sword my soul, from power of dogs, my adoring set thou free. Out of the roaring lion's mouth, do thou shield and save. Fall from the horns of unicorns, set me near to me thou cave. I will shoot forth thy name unto those that my brethren are needs. The congregation, thy praise I will declare. Praise ye the Lord who do in fear, him glorify all ye. The seed of Jacob fear him all, that Israel's children be. For he despised, not nor abhorred the afflicted's misery, nor from him his face but heard, when he to him did cry. Within the congregation breaks, my praise shall be of thee. My vows before them that him fear shall be performed by me. The meek shall eat and shall be filled, they also praise shall give unto the Lord that do him seek. Your heart shall ever live. All ends of the earth remember shall return the Lord unto. All kindreds of the nations, to him shall all be true.
What did I walk into? Is this the Psalms going out and I see Dead Space playing in the background? I have to ask Philip about that. It's a little out, a little out of expectations there. All right. All right, where were we at? The problem is also one type of say abuse is found and start thinking others must have happened too, or have it happen to them as well. Yeah, please take a moment and like the stream, even if you aren't active in the chat. Yeah, I would love any like the stream if you like it. Don't like it if you don't like it. Carl, we know and love is here. What's up, buddy? Hey, it's for horses. The join for the same. Rubio for Sec State. Maybe I'll be interested to see how it pops out. Alex Moore is here. With his small hands. Little Marco. Little Marco in a big world. All right. Let's get into this. So we've got a long way to go because we have got I think we did 24. Y'all, do y'all remember us doing 24? Proud, haughty, and scoffer are his names who acts with overbearing and insolent pride. Did we talk about that? I think we just had 25 left. I mean, before I had to go take care of my daughter. I'm not gonna finish. I'm not gonna leave until I finish the chapter. That's the goal here. That's the goal here. Okay, I did. All right, good. All right, so we're gonna pick up with verse 25, which we didn't get a chance to finish the other night. And we're gonna end the chapter, which is 31. So we got 7 to go through. So let's see what we can do here. The desire of the lazy kills him, for his hands refuse to labor. My dad's old saying is root little pig or die. Maybe a little bit too cold-hearted, but in this case, we're talking about if you are lazy, not that you are unable, but you are unwilling to do work. You do without, and it will kill you. And it doesn't just because you don't just become it's more than just the damage to do yourself, it's the damage you do to the community as well. Builds resentment, you become a liability, people can't depend on you, they feel obligated to help you. In the faith, do not be lazy. Be active, work in it. Understand, this is what I need to work at. This is what I need to improve upon. This is where I can help others do the same thing. It is not uncommon, and you should expect to take things for granted. Take blessings for granted. Take sins for granted. It's going to happen. You're not going to have some things that you do will escape you. And escape your mind, and you'll forget that you did them because it's a lot of times it's minor things, petty things. God died to save your sins. But it's important to repent on what you know that you're struggling with. It's important to pray that God brings to light things that you are doing that are wrong that you may not be aware of. It's important to put that work in because if you are lazy, if you just said, all I got to do is believe, and you sit back and just say, I believe in Jesus and think that it's going to be okay, it's not. He's not going to recognize you when you get into heaven. I didn't know you. I never knew you. Because just believing and doing nothing else makes you a stranger to the real faith, which requires effort, sacrifice, diligent work. It's not an easy road. So while we can make the communism jokes and the memes, and they're all great. If we're going to be a faith stream and we're going to talk about this outside of, the economy, outside of social structures. What does it mean for you in your faith? What does that do for you? You can't be a lazy Christian. Can't be a lazy believer. There might be times where you are lazy, but that can't be what defines you. Thank you, man. Thank you, Emmanuel. 100%. Sow the seeds we want to see in the future. That's right. That's right. If you sow no seeds, you have no future. I think we're going to. He craves all the day long and does no work, but the righteous willingly gives and does not withhold what he has. Again, this goes into the work. And you're not necessarily there to punish somebody and judge them for what they've done. But if somebody needs help, offer them help. That doesn't mean do everything for them. That doesn't mean tell them what they are, that they're okay. But if you see somebody on the road, beaten, naked, hungry, give him a ride, feed him, clothe him, send him on his way, get him where he needs to be, or help put him on that path. We don't find ourselves in a similar situation. We might stumble in our walk and need somebody to help us. Or we might be that person who, because of our kindness, because of the effort that we show, open their eyes and see the truth. Yeah, you shouldn't do something just because you expect to be rewarded for it. You should do it because it's the right thing to do. And understand what that means, and understand what kind of repercussions that could have. You can do something hoping that it works out for them. They may never know you again. That's what it means to be righteous. Or part of what it means to be righteous. The sacrifice of the wicked is detestable and offensive to the Lord. How much more unacceptable and insulting can it be when he brings it with evil intention? Okay, is there any other way to do it, though? 27. Let's see what... I guess, you do evil things because you just want to do them. But, okay. Yeah. All right. I think this is what I'm picking up with this. If you're doing things, offering sacrifices, like what they did in the Jewish tradition, in the Hebrew Israelite tradition, of making sacrifices to atone. They make you your bread offering and your sin offering, or whatever offering you're making. If you're making those just to go through the motions, you don't believe, that sacrifice is disrespectful and offensive to God. If you do it just because that's what you're expected to do, but you're not sorry, you don't care, but you don't want to deal with the static from the rest of the rest of the community. It's like spitting on the ground in front of God. Spitting on that on the grace that he shows us. It is detestable and offensive. But if you do it with evil intention, if you do it with an ulterior motive, if you do it to mock, if you do it to defile, in an attempt to defile, that is even worse. That is even worse. Emmanuel, going back a bit, talked about the previous verse. Help by teaching them how to fish. Don't just give it to them. Exactly. Help them learn to stand on their own a bit. You're not going to be around them forever. Set them up for success. They shouldn't be dependent on you. Or you should try to make it so that they're not dependent on you. And like Nernath said, even if it doesn't feel like it comes back to you. Nernath said, by the way, Nernath, welcome to the chat. I didn't say, hey, what's going on? Jesus also talked about people giving gifts to the temple and not helping their parents. It was to get clout and attention, not really help people or serve God. Yeah, that's what I think. That's what I think the first part of it is, just that you're a wicked person offering sacrifices and you don't mean it, whatever. Unath with the question, what if you do it because you know it's the right thing? You don't feel like doing it, but you do it anyway. Maybe it's not as good because the spirit's not there or it's not in the right place. But you understood your responsibility and you got up and you did it. I mean, somebody else might have a better take on that and maybe they can back it up with scripture, but just me looking at it on its face, I'm like, hey, it's better getting up and doing the right thing, even though you don't feel like doing it. That was kind of go back with to me, I was talking about setting up the chairs at the church. That was a thing I was tasked with, and I did it because it was necessary. And it involved getting to church earlier, not going with my family. I would do it by myself, or go with one of the kids, one or more of the kids, and getting all that set up, as opposed to maybe goofing off a little bit more with the congregation. I mean, it's work, it's labor, right? And I knew it did something to support, but I didn't want it. I didn't want to have to deal with it, but I did it anyway. Was that the right attitude? Or should I just have been accepted, like, yeah, I need to be happy about this? I mean, I was happy that people were able to find joy in the seats that I had laid out, and that the labor that I had done had allowed people to sit and enjoy a sermon. I mean, that didn't mean I wanted to be out there doing it. Set them out and picking them up and putting them away. I don't know. You guys tell me what y'all think about that, because I just gave you an example of how I felt about in a situation like Nernath describes. A false witness will perish. But a man who listens to the truth will speak forever and go unchallenged. So yeah, generally, someone's got to do it sometimes. That's right, Nernath. Generally, false witness, a lot of times those lies, they catch up with you. And it doesn't undo the harm that bearing false witness does. There is the harm that does to the person that you're bearing it against, to yourself, and to the community that you're in is harmful. There is a reason why it is in the 10 Commandments. It is a particularly evil thing to do, and it affects everybody. Uh-oh. That's throwing scripture at me. Let's see what he has to say. Matthew 21. 28 to 32. What do you think? There was a man who had 2 sons, and he came to the first son and said, Son, go and work in the vineyard today. And he answered, I will not. But afterward he regretted it and changed his mind and went. And the man who came to the second son, Well, sir, but he did not go. Which of the two? Oh, did the will of the Proverbs. The first one, he said to us, Surely, sure you and most solemnly say that you and the tax collectors and prostitutes will get into the kingdom of God before you, for God came to you walking in the way of righteousness. You did not believe him. Did believe him. And you seeing this did not even change your mind afterwards. I think I do. Okay. Wicked man in Solomon's writings. Matt, what's going on, buddy? We were just reading from Matthew, and Matt shows up. We were reading from Matthew, and Matthew Felty shows up. And Matt points us back to Proverbs 6, 12, 14. One who walks with a perverse, corrupt, vulgar mouth, who winks with his eyes in mockery, who shuffles his feet to signal, who points with his fingers to give subversive instruction, who perversely in his heart plots trouble and evil continually. I think this is really the big part. The 14 is really, like, the other stuff is wicked too, but this is like where you see the most general approach to it. Who perversely in his heart plots trouble and evil continually, who spreads discord and strife. Good side, good verses, both of you guys. That and Matthew. All right. False witness will perish, but man, they will be found out. But the damage is done. You can't undo it. But a man who listens to the truth will speak forever and go unchallenged. You continue to speak truth. People understand it. Other righteous people will likely not challenge you. You will be respected and understood as a honorable and truthful person. Your reputation as a trustworthy person is a very important thing. It's the thing my dad used to tell me, and I'm sure you guys have heard it before. Trust is easily broken. A reputation is hard to change once it has become, once it is negative. People remember. People remember when you lied to them. Because they expect you to tell the truth all the time. They remember when you lied to them. That's me looking around for that wall. Where the wall? Where's that wall? Where's that big, beautiful wall that goes from one side to the other that's 10 feet taller? All right. A wicked man puts on a bold face. Bold face! But as for the upright, he considers, directs, and establishes his way with the confidence of integrity. I'm thinking about the Wojak meme where he's wearing the smiling face, but he's crying, and behind it, the wicked man puts up a bold face. He might try to flex. He might try to sound confident. He might boast to make you think he's righteous or better or someone other than he is. But as for the upright, he considers, directs, and establishes his way. He just does what's right. And again, it's just like being truthful, right? Because it is you're living your life in a truthful way. Not just speaking the truth, but living your life truthful. This is how I work. This is how I operate. I don't need to boast. I don't need to put on a bold face. People will see, and the righteous will recognize it when they see it. They will understand what I'm about. God knows what's in your heart. God knows where that behavior is coming from. Because you're not fooling. I mean, be honest with you, the only person you need to know, need to be working to showing that you are faithful, to showing that you are righteous, is God. And he knows. He can see through all the crap. You can't put on a bold face in front of God. You are naked before him. He knows you better than he knows or he knows you better than you know yourself. So be that upright person. Consider, direct, and establishes your way with the confidence of integrity. Live your life with integrity. Make the decisions about that with truthfulness, with obedience to God, with love in your heart. And it will be recognized. Feeling like a lot of beatitudes in that. There is no human wisdom or understanding or counsel that can prevail against the Lord. Yeah. You can't plot against God. You can't fool him. There's no cheat code. There's no hack to getting past God. He's not a boss to be conquered. He's the system. He's the dev. He knows. You're not going to get past it. God sees all and can control all. Making me look up more scripture. James 3:17. But the wisdom from above is pure, morally and spiritually undefiled, then peace-loving, courteous, considerate, gentle, reasonable, and willing to listen, full of compassion and good fruits. Ooh, I love this. What's going on, Nico? It is unwavering, without self-righteousness, or without self-righteous hypocrisy and self-serving guile. Like it. Good footnote there, Mr. Felty. You can't bind God with magic words. Yeah, you can't just you can't just go, I got it. No. Do you want to understand how to live with it? Like, this is what we said. This is what they told us in basic training. All right, since it's Veterans Day, told you in basic training. If you want to get out of the Army, the easiest way to do it is just graduate and go serve your time and get discharged honorably and go on with your life. You signed up for 3 or 6 years. But if you quit, you're going to be stuck here for 1.5 years to 2 years. You're going to be miserable. You're going to make minimal pay because you're not going to be promoted. You're going to be dishonorably or other than honorably discharged from the military. It's going to follow you around forever. Just graduate. Just do what you signed your name to. It's not a cheat code thing. But it's not, doesn't make to say that the game is easy. But you're not alone. You've got others there to help out. But trying to weasel your way through, trying to weasel your way through is not going to work. Because we go back to the thing, God knows. God knows better. All right, last one for the night, last one for the chapter. The horse is prepared for the day of battle, but delivery and victory belong to the Lord. Okay, that's confusing. Does this have to do with preparing, but preparing for battle, but no matter what, God wins? Preparing for the fight, God's always victorious. Is that what this proverb is supposed to get through? Other than honorable is brutal. Yeah. Oh, they're both brutal. Nance said, I knew a guy who took 6 years to get his dishonorable to an honorable in 2 adjudications, but he's the exception. Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. You can prepare. You can arm yourself. You can strategize. You can train, practice, consider everything. And you might be the best, as Nernance said. You might be the best warrior. You might be the smartest strategist. But God is still in control. God is still in control. So no matter what Trump does with this election, whether he does more good than bad or more harm than good, God's in control. And Trump is a president in the world. God is the king of all things. We'll close out with Isaiah 31:1. As it were. Woe, judgment is coming to those who go down to Egypt for help, who rely on horses and trust in chariots because they are many, and in horsemen because they are very strong. But they do not look to the Holy One of Israel, nor seek and consult the Lord. Good bun. There we go. Yes, sir. Not with a 50% completion percentage. Thad. Pokemon. All right, Emmanuel. You're welcome. Emmanuel, Nernaeth, Thad, Matt, Nico, Veritax. Hope your mother-in-law is okay. Alex, Carl, that we know and love. All right, that's the group. I said Thad, just to make sure. Yeah, I said Thad. Thank you for being part of the stream. Thank you for being in the chat. I love you guys. Love what you guys bring. The thoughts, the questions, everything. Thank you for being part of the show. Y'all make it better. You're part of the show, just like me. To everybody who is listening and not a part of the chat, look, I'm love for you to be in the chat, but I'm fine if you just want to listen. Right, that's fine. I'm just glad you got a place that you found someplace good that you've been able to settle in and come to periodically. To everybody catching this on replay, sorry I missed you, but thank you for watching. Hope to catch you live sometime soon. Everybody have a good night and God bless.